from within a few minutes of waking up, I was thinking about getting erections again, and would I be still able to have a good sex life? Hello, I'm Elvin, and I was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer in 2016. Let's talk about sex. Can people with cancer have sex? The answer is yes and no. It's complicated. In my prostate cancer world, initially, I couldn't have sex. The challenge is all to do with how has your cancer affected your ability to actually have sex. Initially, I had to rehabilitate my penis. It's the use of penile pumps and as much masturbation as you can get in one day without getting caught, I think is the best way of putting it. And I had to get used to the fact that I could no longer produce semen or ejaculate. The wonder and the joy of instant sex has long gone. What is cancer treatment like? Well, for me, the cancer treatment was, I would say it's basic. It was extraordinarily technically gifted men and women around me, but the treatment was an operation. Met Nathan, a lovely fella. He was an anaesthetist. Went through the things he was going to do. Explained there was going to be 2 injections. One was optional, and that was to ensure that when I woke up, I didn't have a throbbing penis, as in painful penis. So I said, you go right on ahead. That sounds good to me. The next injection, he said, you won't be able to count to 5. He said, I can assure you, you'll slip into a beautiful sleep. And I think I counted about 3. And then the next thing I remember was waking up on the trolley. The first thing that came to my mind was, I'm alive! Oh wow, because I was scared, petrified actually, that I wasn't going to make it through the operation. It was 3 hours with a brilliant surgeon having a radical robotic prostatectomy. And that was it. The scarring's not too bad actually, if anyone wants to know. I firmly believed everything was back in place and it wasn't going to be okay. But from within a few minutes of waking up, I was thinking about getting erections again, and would I be still able to have a good sex life, a healthy sex life that I'd enjoyed for many years. The morning after the biopsy, I actually had a adrenaline anaesthetic. Jude was there as usual, picked me up, no problem, we'd be okay. And the minx in her came out because they tell you to wear jogging bottoms because they tell you your testicles are going to get big. They didn't tell you how big. They're like King Edward's in a really bad, football bag. I walked out of the car park. And Jude couldn't stop laughing. She said, "Have you seen your balls?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't." She said, "They're ridiculous." So there was a light bit and a light touch. Jude and I sat in front of a brilliant urologist. He said, "Look, it's the nerves around your penis that give you an erection and maintain an erection so that you do have enjoyable sexual intercourse." He said, I'm going to have to remove some of the nerves. He said, I will use what's termed nerve sparing. And he said, it'll probably take 2 years. That's as long as you do the exercises and we give you a Viagra and stuff that we're going to explain. He said, after 2 years, you'll probably about 60% of what you currently enjoy. So I looked at Jude and said, 60%? What do you think? And I thought to myself then, God, this is pretty serious stuff, isn't it? What wasn't gone to in any detail whatsoever, there's a thing called the shortening, and the penis reduces in length and girth. Likewise, it wasn't mentioned to me that it is, sadly, a point that not everybody, but a lot of people suffer Peyronie's disease. Mine came around about maybe 18 months, 3 years after the surgery. And there is a curvature of the penis, and it's quite profound. I don't know any other guys who have a prostatectomy are thinking that much about the tumour, funny enough. We trust you to take that out. How are we going to get on sexually afterwards? That should have been discussed. I still think they should have used graphics and explained that this will definitely happen. No more semen, no more ejaculation, it will get shorter. Now these are the things we want you to do. We want you as soon as you can to start using a penile pump. You know, nobody actually mentioned to me, should I use it continually? The only thing I became aware of is that I had to do pelvic floor exercises because of the incontinence. They term it, once you've had your prostate removed, a dry orgasm. Get out of town. That's not dry. Okay, there's no semen that comes out, but a lot of us get this thing called a climax associated incontinence. So where once upon a time there was the joy of sex and the joy of ejaculation, far from it now, because trying to get an erection, and also when you do ejaculate, if you have what I had, there's wee and God knows what everywhere. You know, you need an umbrella for crying out loud. What is going on here? But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to encounter it, it's nice to know where on the journey you will. Right, next question please. How does cancer affect sex? In my darkest hour I said it smashes it to bits. And then when I'm less dark, it has an impact. Sex is supposed to be pleasurable. It's the most natural thing in the world. You know, you get up, you walk, you run, and you have sex just as naturally. So the pleasure part, it's not the same. It'll never be the same again. But as long as you get it near enough for what it was, you take that. How does cancer affect your body? The treatment for aggressive prostate cancer, it's not noticeable to the passing stranger, even to the extent, you know, when you get down, you go swimming. For me, they may notice that there's something rather strange about my belly button. That seems like it's been extended a bit, and that's the only visible scar. You know, initially you've got to learn to hold your wee again. That affects your body. Sadly, there's a lot of guys out there, they'll probably use about 3 incontinence pads a day. These days, I'm down to the old drips and drizzles. The erection comes and goes, and that's really down to how lucky you are. It has an extraordinary impact on your ability to think clearly, because unfortunately you do go into the blue funk, and your confidence is hit. Your mind and your mental health takes a hell of a hit. Where do I get support with cancer? And God bless Macmillan, because cancer's affected, you know, my family, and they've been there for them. The support and the trust and respect is immense. So, can cancer cause a lack of sex drive? Well, with a radical prostatectomy, the treatment I had, which did not affect my wonderful testosterone, so physically there was no reason why it would cause a lack of sex drive. The best advice I would give anybody who's had a radical prostatectomy is that before you go in for the operation, actually have a discussion about what do you think it's going to be like. What do you think we should do? Of all the lessons learned is that you need to be talking about what are we going to do about our situation. Do people with cancer enjoy sex? Yeah. Still enjoy sex, you know. You know, I suppose it's a bit like being a 100-metre runner who can't do 10 seconds anymore. You know, okay, it's 20 seconds now, but I still enjoy the run. You've got to understand that things have changed a lot. You know, there's a method to try and get you back to have erections, where you pump it up with the penile pump, and you try to hold on to the erection with basically an elastic band. Now, that's not enjoyable. It feels like it's going to actually snap your willy, and apparently, according to Jude, it's cold. So those sort of things, no, that's not enjoyable. It's really, really difficult, but you work at it, and it's really difficult sometimes to talk about it afterwards. You know, how was it for you? And it really comes into it. It's really, really important. How was it for you? Spoiler alert, it'll never be the same again. It can't be, because you're not the same person again, you know, physically or mentally. And so you've got to start on a journey and initially it'd be very, very difficult. Does cancer affect relationships? The effect on the relationship, it's pretty much you've got to start again in so many areas. It's going to be affected, but hang in there. You help one another and have as much patience as possible. Do everything you can to understand the other one and never forget to say sorry. How do I talk about sex? Very, very openly, very honestly, and extraordinarily candidly. I'd now really try hard to talk about my sexual health like I talk about my dental health. Simple and as plain as that. What support can I get for erectile dysfunction? The quick answer is not enough, and you'll need pretty much support right way through your life, one way or the other. Go and see the GP. Get the ground laid. Go to people like the website of Macmillan. Find out what they're saying, and last but not least, you must get involved with the self-help groups because they'll let you know the latest information available. Some really important stuff that should be told to you before you actually are treated and have the prostatectomy is that you're not going to be able to start immediately. I know it sounds a bit nuts, but it's true. You need to start masturbating. This is a part of your anatomy that needs to be exercised. And as soon as you are physically able, you should regularly masturbate. You get out there and you use what God gave you and you masturbate. Do get a penile pump. The vacuum pump is absolutely vital because it will support and assist you to get an erection. Pelvic floor exercises are absolutely vital for your continence and your erections. I know it sounds nuts, but someone said to me, treat it like a project, Elv, and it ain't a bad way of going about things. Treat it like a project. What have I got to do? Who can help me? Let's get on with it. You'll be fine. What happens after cancer? Life changes. That's the quick answer. The most important thing is that it should not change you, your beliefs, your values. It may take a pounding because I cried out. I said, I help people. I don't need help. You just don't panic, he says, fighting back the tears. Yeah, you get emotional. As long as you rise to meet the dawn, you're there. It is a gift that you will use. I promise. I promise. If you found this informative, interesting, or just a bit nuts, please like, share or subscribe and join the conversation.